So what does a realistic self-improvement journey look like for the average guy? If you're starting your self-improvement journey around your teenage years and you're expecting to make $1 billion by 22, it's probably not gonna happen. So what does the average journey look like for the average guy if you actually try hard, put in 100%? I'm gonna show you exactly where I was, where I came from the absolute trenches mentally to at a pretty good point right now, and we're gonna jump into this PowerPoint. So this is how I went from stoner to shredded, full story. As you can see on this first slide, there's a clear juxtaposition in the transformation. I started off around all these bad influences, these people tearing me down, anxious. I was depressed, I felt stuck, I felt trapped. You can just see the texture of life in these photos is a bit negative. And I've come out the other side, a good boxer, owning my own gym, completely transformed my own confidence, getting girls, working on my own business. So the juxtaposition between these two things is pretty insane. Started locking in January 2022. As you can see from some of these photos here, I was very skinny and self-conscious at this time. I was depressed, I was getting panic attacks, like not very frequently, I'll be honest, but I did get some panic attacks, and I think that was from copious amounts of marijuana. I was pretty lonely. I didn't have any good friends that actually cared about me. I had mutual friends that I smoked with, mutual friends that I drank with, but no friends that actually cared about my well-being. No girlfriend. I started learning about good and bad habits from watching self-improvement videos. So at this time, clearly my mental state was very messed up, maybe similar to where you're at right now, or maybe you're a bit ahead of this. If you're smoking weed, vaping, drinking, and doing drugs, the only way to get out of this is to remove these bad habits and start focusing on good ones. So that's exactly what I started to do around here. I started making some progress physically, just doing push-ups in my bedroom, and I started boxing as well. As you can see on this slide, I was a bit busted up from one of my boxing sessions. I think my coach pieced me up. But there's a little bit of improvement compared to the previous slide. Mentally, I'm doing a lot better because I've got a bit of a focus, now you could call it, a path forward, some hope. Still at this point, I wanted to be a billionaire. It's already been 3 whole months. How am I not a millionaire yet? Where are all the girls at? I should have $1 million, be aesthetic and shredded, and have a bunch of girls around me. What's happening? Like, I thought this self-improvement shit is bullshit. I was still too anxious to go to the gym, so I was just doing these push-ups in my bedroom. I was very socially awkward. Like, I couldn't even talk to people crossing paths on the street. About 5 months in to your self-improvement journey, you'll find it's not a steady up scale. You're not just gonna go up. There's ebbs and flows, there's ups and downs, and over the long term, it looks like it's just going straight up, but when you zoom in, month to month, as you can see, there's a lot of ups and downs. So I knew about all the bad habits. I knew that vaping was bad. I knew that drinking was bad now. I've even started meditating at this point, and I'm still doing all the bad stuff because it's still got its grasp on me. I was getting into fights. As you can see, I was asking my mum to buy me vodka. I was young. Still partying. No more weed, which was good. That was a big one that was holding me back. And getting into this fight at this one party I was at, this house party, really woke me up to the real world, really woke me up to the levels of people that there are. This guy was a complete degenerate, so even 5 months on self-improvement and training boxing and learning how to be a better person, I'm more sober-minded. If I was more fucked up at this party, if I hadn't done 5 months of boxing, if I wasn't physically fitter, not super fit yet, would I have won this fight? Probably not. I probably would have got bashed, maybe jumped by a bunch of guys. But this was a bit of a wake up to the real world. Taking aim, month 5 to 8 is an awesome one. So I ended up getting a job scaffolding, which is like, basically, if you're building buildings, you need temporary buildings around it to help build the building. Regardless, you can see I've got some goals on my wall now. So I'm actually got a direction I want to aim to and that I'm working towards. And I'm also getting some nature, so mentally I'm feeling a lot better. I was becoming more mature at this point, especially after the first couple months of relapsing, falling back into negative habits and then coming back out, falling back in, coming back out. I learned a lot about the nature of the mind and how hard it is to actually stay on a journey. The good habits were helping my mental health, so I was becoming more present, like meditating a lot. So every time I wanted to do a bad thing, I thought about it a bit more. I had a clearer mind overall, and I was just happier overall, which was very conducive of living a good life, which is cool. So I was working full time. I still really hated it. Scaffolding, like in a trade, it's hard work. And I was thinking about becoming a personal trainer. Still being very cheeky, but this time when I'm cheeky, I get this sense of regret afterwards. So if I go to a party and drink, I get this massive sense of guilt and shame afterwards, which is actually a good thing because I knew what I wanted now and I knew the goals I had because I'd written them down, put them on my wall. But when I did something that wasn't aligned to those goals, I felt bad for it. And that negative emotion helped me stick on the path. So I hated when I drank. I hated when I smoked, and I still had some trouble with like older friends that were lingering around that I didn't want to completely say, oh, we can't be friends anymore, which ended up dragging me back down into these regretful holes that I went in. But again, like I said, this time when I did something bad, when I did the bad habits, I felt really bad afterwards. So I didn't want to do them as much again. 9 months in, I shaved my head. So if you're a guy, you know when you get a buzz cut, you lock in. It's just the fundamental nature of being a man. As soon as you shave your head and stop worrying about externals, you actually become more focused on internal growth. It's a real thing. You can see my screen time's down, my physique's looking a little bit better, my head's a little bit chopped, I'll be honest, but I deleted social media, so I didn't have any Snapchat, no Instagram, no TikTok. This was one of the most transformational periods of my life because I didn't have that external drive to do things I didn't want to do. I didn't have TikTok validating me for partying, drinking, and being degenerate. I just had my own thoughts, which was a lot to deal with, especially only 9 months into your journey. You've still got a lot to process of how much you've been messing up your life prior. I started reinventing myself around this point. So instead of Jackson, just the random nomadic guy that was traveling through life, floating down the river, I became very goal-oriented. I wanted things now. I started training to get my PT certificate, so I left my job. You can see my habit tracker on this screen. I've got like a weekly check-in, which is really awesome. I got my certificate 3 in fitness. I completely removed all the old influences I had. I still had no social media. I was feeling way more disciplined because I was training every day, trying to get jacked so that people would pay me to help them get jacked. And taking that chance, taking that leap from working full-time to becoming a PT, I wish I made more clear in this slide, but that was a massive jump. That was a scary jump from working full-time to becoming a PT and like quitting my job to study full-time to then become a PT. With parents, when you're still living with your parents and they're telling you to do certain things, that was a massive risk I had to take, but I knew becoming a PT would lead to me doing more work that's first of all aligned to what I really care about, which is helping people. And second of all, a big thing was it's your own business. When you are a PT, you have to get your own clients, you have to manage your own money. It's more your own business. You're not just told to be here at this time. You have to deal with it yourself, create your own business. So 12 months into my journey, I finally became a coach, technically. I was trying to do some online coaching. You can see this, the Demigod Physique Builder program that I tried to sell online on my Instagram. I had AKO Coaching was my original coaching brand. My physique's looking crazy now, so I've gained about 10 kilos of muscle since I started over the 12 months, which was crazy. And I'm still boxing at the time. A big part of this journey, so about the 8-month mark when I started deleting all social medias and to this point where I'm focusing on my own business, was house sitting. Bro, if you're young and you can get into a house alone for a month and focus on your goals, you're gonna achieve some of the most insane results of your life in that period of time. I started Polarize, which is my business where I help young men get strong and confident mentally and physically. I started that in a period of house sitting. I started this AKO coaching business in a period of house sitting. I became jacked in a period of house sitting. Becoming known as a house sitter locally between your mum's friends or your family's friends, it's the meta. It's so good. Living by yourself as a young man has to be one of the most maturing things you can do. About 14 months in, I started my business Polarize, which is just what I mentioned before. You can see the old scrappy logo I made on Canva.
Good work, man.
The group of boys, that was our first ever session actually, 4 boys training. I also was training women at the time, and my physique was looking a lot crazier as well. So I was still house sitting. Any chance I could get to live outside of home and focus was insane for my progress. Feeling even more fulfilled. My confidence is building now. So I'm not this scared, anxious, weak version of Jackson anymore. I'm becoming like Coach Jackson. I'm becoming PT Jackson. My identity was changing. About 16 months in, I turned 18 and I started getting some girls. So I didn't really allow myself the time to go talk to girls. Also, I was just very anxious and scared to talk to women, to be completely honest with you. So the time thing was a bit of an excuse for me. I'm focusing on myself, bro. It was a scam. But what I ended up doing was allowing myself, after this 16 months of training hard, getting a good physique, having all the foundations set, to finally talk to some girls, maybe go on some dating apps, link with some things. Now I had that good foundation in training, self-improvement, the habits, and working consistently. I felt comfortable doing that, and I also felt a lot more confident in myself because I was doing these things. I was having some fun. About the 17 to 25 month mark, so there's a big gap there, I started finally enjoying my life. So all of this period before was pretty much grind, monotonous, lonely period, that like Sigma Wolf grind where you're just in the gym, go home, journal, meditate, back in the gym, go home, journal, meditate, eat. Eventually, around that 17 to 25 month mark, I found out what fun was again. I ended up going on some hikes. I went into the mountains for 3 days with one of my friends. I was boxing a lot more, changing gyms, exploring, meeting new people, doing these ice bath little events, meeting up with people at the beach in the morning, going to Bali. I was making my life a lot more fun, which actually made the grind a lot easier as well. It made it more long-term and more sustainable. Because before I would have been so scared to do these things. I would have been going in the mountains for 3 days. Bro, I'm a skinny little nerd. I just want to stay home and smoke weed. But now I'm at a point where I feel confident enough to literally go into the mountains with a backpack for 3 days without my phone. And it just makes life a lot more enjoyable when you have this confidence to do things. So at the 28th month mark, that's a bit of a tongue twister, I bought this gym that we're in right now. I was working in this gym for about 2 years after I became a PT, so about 1 and a bit years. And I started my business Polarize, which we talked about. Polarize, it was kind of a side hustle at the time. Mainly I was just doing group coaching for this gym. And the owner said, I want out, do you want to buy this thing? Otherwise I'm gonna sell it to someone else. If he sold it to someone else, Polarize probably would have died right there. So I took the risk, I took the leap from the confidence I'd gotten. Ask me this 2 years ago, asked me to buy a gym 2 years ago, I would have fucking shat myself. It wouldn't have even been a question. It's like, hell no, what do you mean? I don't know what a gym is, I don't know what to do. But because I developed myself so much, I knew that I could keep developing myself to become the type of guy who could own a gym, who could continue his own business, who could grow his own business and maybe someone else's business as well. So I bought a gym, I had 2 businesses now. I was 18, 19. And in 2 days over the holidays after we bought the gym, we made $10,000 in 2 days, 1 day. Crazy. That was a massive eye-opener for me. That was a bit of a one-off event that we recently scaled back on. But it was proof in the pudding that the grind pays off. Like 28 months ago, I was earning $0 and I made $10,000 in 2 days. That is fucking crazy. We grew Polarize to over 50 members, young men, helping them gain muscle and confidence locally in our local area. And we now do it online as well. If you're interested in that, there is a link in the description. The 30 to 34 month mark, this is when I started boxing. So if buying a gym and dealing with all these new clients and dealing with the admin business side of things wasn't enough, I thought boxing would be an awesome idea as well and training for a tournament. So meanwhile, while I was trying to juggle all this, I was also training to fight at the time as well. I wanted some new ways to challenge myself because confidence-wise, the business thing was massive for me. But internally, younger Jackson, he always wanted to box. He started off boxing, if you remember a couple slides back. That was the first thing I did. I was doing push-ups in my room and boxing. From that point, I always wanted to have a fight, and all of this stuff kind of got in the way in the meantime, the business stuff, the adventures. I always wanted to box. And sure, business was booming at this time, but I still felt like a bit of a bitch because I felt like I'd been pushing this off for so long. And also I knew how much this would develop my character because I talked to fighters and you can just tell their aura. They got a bit of a different aura around them. I had a lot more work to do now, but I also had the confidence that I could get it done. And as you can see, I did. I made it to the state finals at around the mid-year 2025. So I went from this completely weak, skinny, anxious, doing a job I hated, hating my life, depressed, all the negative mental health symptoms you can name, to this, jacked, confident, in about 2 to 3 years. From no girls to actually a bit too many girls now. I have to start rejecting girls. I've like kind of maxed out on Tinder a bit. You don't have to use Tinder. I'm not a dating coach as well. From negative influences to a high level network. So I'm hanging out with guys who are actually on their own grind, not people who are trying to get me to smoke weed. And from a boring, monotonous life to an actual fun, exciting life where I'm having boxing fights. My friends are coming to my fights. We're having fun. We're going on hikes for 3 days and trips away to other like tropical countries where we're having fun with some mates. If you want help achieving a journey like this of your own, completely transforming your life, becoming exciting, becoming strong, building good relationships, there's a link in the description below for Polarize. Join today, have a look at that. Just learn a little bit more, click the link, have a little look. You don't have to join, but if you are interested, we can help you achieve this result like we do with a bunch of other boys. See you later, bro.